Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. Round 3 of the Taco Tuesday series takes us to the Misano circuit in Emilia-Romagna in Italy. Tom Cairns in the contrary position, and alongside me is Craig Law. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. I know I wasn't here last week, which was a shame, but due to work commitments I couldn't do it. But I'm happy to be back for this week, and we're looking forward to some cracking action here on this Misano circuit, named after the former MotoGP rider Marco Simoncelli, who we sadly lost 12 years ago now. But this circuit is still honoured under his name, which is a touching thing to see. But in terms of what we expect from tonight, Craig, what are you looking out to see?
So, I've seen that, as you can see from practice tonight, it appears that the Porsche is definitely a handy car around here. Anecdotal feedback is that the Audi feels nice, and the Ferrari, of course, is fast everywhere. Interestingly, as we've alluded to in the previous races, there's barely any McLarens really, which is the biggest difference between last year and this year. But Sean Cool, he looks a bit, apparently he's very comfortable in the car, just talking to his teammates. They think he might be a dark horse for the race win. He is the kind of the only one up there really in the Porsche. We had some really good performances in the first round, but we obviously had a lot of people taken out before we could even really see what they could do. And I'm actually just trying to get the results up from the Laguna race that we both missed. I don't know if you have them up.
Yeah, well, I've got them up in front of me, so we can run them through as we speak. So last week, Mauro Assetto took pole position, but it was Will Freeman who came out on top and won the race by 3.5 seconds over Nico Busov. Then it was Morgan Grace completing the podium in the Ferrari 296 GT3, with Jeffrey Godefroy coming home in 4th place. Sean Cool, the Season 9 champion, was 5th ahead of Melvin Krause. Jack Prentice was 7th, with Damien van der Waal, Arkadiusz Michalka and Luke Prentice running out the top 10. And in terms of those that floundered, really, the only one that really shocked me actually was Mauro Assetto, because he encountered problems during the race at Laguna Seca. He finished 5 laps down and brought the car
disconnected
home,
apparently,
which is a terrible shame. 31st overall, which means he didn't get any points from that. But at least he can use that as his dropped score, because the best 8 scores from each driver will count towards the Drivers' Championship.
Indeed, absolutely terrible luck for him. Of course, he's obviously a very, very fast driver in himself. I don't think, is he racing tonight? I don't see him on the drivers list actually, so he's missing tonight too.
Well, I haven't seen Arsenio on the list here tonight. We are expecting 26 drivers to turn up. There are 24 in the server at the present moment, so we just have to hope for a few more drivers to turn up, and then hopefully we'll meet the numbers.
Indeed. Yeah, so there's also a very amusing clip going along in Discord of, I believe, from the Pro-Am race of some very interesting moves going into the corkscrew. One person defying the laws of physics on the game and managing to completely miss the apex of corkscrew, go flying over the gravel trap and into the wall. Defining physics that I've not seen in ACC yet. So I think a bit of a messy race for a couple of drivers, that's for sure. Hopefully Misano will be a little bit more well behaved. But I think it's good. It's good to see Will Friedman. I think that is an incredible result for him, and I'm really, really happy, given that he had a really strong showing in Bathurst, obviously, and it's good for him to come away for a win. I believe he might be top of the standings, right?
He is very much so, with a win and a 2nd place, of which he achieved at Mount Panorama, the opening round, 2nd over there, the race win last week. So Will Freeman in the form of his life, with the lead that he has on the SimGrid website. It's actually discounting one of the scores, which is not ideal for me, because I want to see the overall scores really, because the dropped points thing doesn't apply until all the races are completed. But Will Freeman does have a win and a second place. The driver closest to him in the championship, you have to say, is now Nico Busov, with a second place finish at Laguna Seca and a fourth place finish in Mount Panorama. So I would expect to be quite a number of changes, given that some of these drivers are not around this evening. In terms of the circuit itself of Misano, on the layout that we are racing on, to my understanding, is the 4.2 kilometre configuration. That's been around since 2008. Misano first opened in 1972. And I think we want to go for on board with a lap with one of the drivers, Craig. So do you want to go on board with Chris Gedman, who's just going over the line now, and take us on a lap of this circuit?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how Chris takes it. So you take first corner, you have to go over those bumps. You have to be very careful not to unsettle the car there. Get a bit of a tight apex and open up this corner. Be careful not to cut that corner. It's very easy to do. You go all the way to the left, brake just before the 150 board, the 50 meter board. This is really hard. You have to crank on the lock, get on the power right now. It's so hard with your traction control. You have to get it set completely right. Make sure you don't go out too far there as you get straight onto the curbs and they can send you flying. But otherwise you can get a really, really good exit here. Brake about just after the 100 meter board and go really tight to the apex. That's actually quite decent from Chris there. Well done. And get on the power quite early. Again, TC is quite tricky in that corner. Here, this is so tricky. You almost have to miss the apex. You have to hook the car round the curb, which is what Chris didn't do. Get as close into the curb there as possible, and then get on the power really, really early. Earlier than you think, and it carries you all the way down this slightly terrifying sequence of corners. Skip over that curb, as Chris has shown there. Get onto the left, skip over the curb again, brake here, turn, and hopefully don't go over the curb there. And that's actually quite a reasonable... Oh, I spoke too soon. Quite a reasonable take of that corner. Then you get on the power. Again, go over the yellow sausage curbs. Make sure it doesn't bounce too much. You can go much wider there than Chris did. And then just fling it into this corner. You can go out surprisingly wide there. And then that is a lap of Misano. It is a very, very quick and intense lap. A 1 minute 33 lap, which is... Yeah, that's not long in a GT3. That kind of it's a bit like Mexico in F1 cars. It's that short of a track.
Yeah, it's a short circuit. Is Misano, of course, it's the MotoGP event, San Marino Grand Prix, the motorcycle MotoGP event, and there's also a lot of other events, including Italian Formula 4 that have raced in Misano in the past, as has the Formula Regional European Championship in 2020. I'm sure there's other series that race around this brilliant circuit of Misano. Well, Jeffrey Godefroy is fastest at the moment with a 133.5. You can see in your picture in the 147 Ferrari, and it's Will Freeman who's a tenth and a half behind in the number 8 Lamborghini. And it's Ivanov in third place and a Nico Busov, so it's a Lamborghini 2, 3 and 4 as we speak. And we're just looking at the number 74 going over the line. That is Connor Byers who's going over the line. And he goes up into 7th place with his latest time, so that's a great effort there from Connor. And he pulls off the circuit, goes back into the pit lane.
Connor is asked for a shout out on stream, so I'm going to give him a shout out. Hi Connor. Connor is my teammate in some endurance races that we do. So we recently did the 12 hours of Barcelona, and he is joining us for the 12 hours of Donington in the rain next Saturday. He's just signed up to that, so God bless you, Connor. Thank you for joining that. Yeah, he's a very, very quick driver on his day. We had probably the best Ferrari I've ever driven in my life, and he matched. Like he did better than me actually. His times were far more consistent, and yeah, he's a dedicated driver, Connor. So hopefully he can do well. He's in the Aston. He's the only one in the Aston. So good on you for being the only one choosing that car.
Seems to be enjoying the handling of his Aston Martin V8 Vantage. He goes up into he's in 7th place now, is Connor. And looking at where his season has gone so far, 12th place finish in Mount Panorama and a non-finish last week in Laguna Seca, so he'll need to bounce back here to get his season back on track. Looking to see who else is making an impression. Morgan Grace continuing his good form at the moment in the number 14 Ferrari. He's in 5th position. Cameron Mikowski is 8th in the Lamborghini. Looking at where Mikowski is at the moment, 18th in Mount Panorama, 21st at the Gunaseka, so at least he's finished both of the races. We haven't seen too much of him, but
Yeah,
doing a
same can't
reasonable
be
job.
said for most drivers. At least he's finished both the races.
Yeah. Chris Gedman has finished both of the races so far, 21st in Mount Panorama, 23rd at the Gunaseka. Now, the grids last week and the week before are bigger than what's expected here, so this could be an opportunity for some of the drivers to get some useful points from this race to get their seasons up and running. Godefroy is still fastest by a 10th.5. Wolfman trying to better his time from before. He is out on the circuit, coming out of Tremonto and onto the back straight. Go to Freeman as he comes through. There he is in the pink liveried Lamborghini. He's coming through the tricky sections of the circuit. Goes over the curve though, quite a bit too turning too early to through there. He might have exceeded track limits. Now that's the thing, Craig, because track limits is going to be a thing here tonight. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just looking at Will's line. Is that inside corner? That I wouldn't be surprised if that was a track cut there. It's a strange track because sometimes some corners can be, you know, like what Will's going over there. You can pretty much skip over that curb. Here, here you can definitely go all four wheels off the track. Some of them are just quite strange. I think the thing with Misano is that there are those sausage curbs on the edge of any of the corners, so here you can absolutely cut that corner. I don't understand why, but you can. But on other corners on the exits, they do have those sausage curbs, and you do not want to go over them at all. It used to be worse, I think, in the pre 1.9. I think even pre 1.8, because there was before this most recent update, the cars were awful over the curbs, really, really unrealistically so, actually. That to the point where you couldn't even go over most curves because they would just shake your car to death. And the only way to get around that would have to be to raise your ride height, essentially, or massively soften your dampers to account for it, but which obviously slowed your car down in other ways. So thankfully with 1.9 it makes it a little bit more forgiving, so they can definitely go over those curbs a bit more liberally now. But this is what you get in practice. It's interesting to see the drivers because they are pushing, because they are just trying to explore the limits of the track before qualifying, to see where they can get away from. Like, this is where you would do your laps and build yourself up. And I think quite often that you would find with some of these drivers with a minute and a half to go to qualifying is that, I mean, maybe this is in my case, but I did some of my best laps in pre-practice. Whenever the pressure's off, you're just exploring the limits of the track, get into qualifying, and you know the pressure gets to you, and those little moments where you just try to push too much, and then you explore the edges of the track a bit too much, and that's where you pick up those track cuts, which can be so frustrating. Especially at Misano might not be the most egregious track, but places like the Circuit of Americas and things like that, they're awful when you want to try and go on a push lap. Especially, I hate those tracks where there's a potential track cut that's very easy to get in Sector 3. Because that's, you could do the best lap in the world in Sectors 1 and 2, then when you get to 3 and you do a track cut, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. So drivers will have to be aware of it. But these are all very capable drivers. I'm sure they'll be able to navigate a clean lap within 15 minutes.
Seen the last set of times coming through at the moment. Will Freeman was able to go to the top with his final lap time there by over a tenth on Jeffrey Godefroy. And we are seeing the checker flag being waved, so the drivers completing their last time laps in practice. Ed Sterling improving his time but not moving up the order. We've got the number 28 coming through, I believe, if I can find who that is. I think it's Kevin Druin, who's coming through, and he does not improve, so he stays where he is in 20th place. And we've got the 79 of Chris Gedman crossing over the line. He's 25th at the moment, and he does not improve his time over, so stays where he is. 22, who doesn't show us on here. I think is it Stuart Hodgson is just coming in? Yeah, it is. Stuart Hodgson is shown in the number 46 rather than. Oh. So the practice session is more or less over now as we await for the drivers to wrap up their final lap times. In fact, Ben Milden, I think, may be on a fast lap. Not anymore now, though. Qualifying is underway. 15 minutes it will be to determine who will be on pole position. There's no points on offer for the field for pole position. It's the race where it matters, but the higher you start, the better your chances of coming away with a strong result. Got the number 3 out on circuit. That'll be Kleiboer in the number 3 Audi. So he's out of the pits. Follow behind and get some temperature into their tyres before the first time laps.
I find it interesting how slow people are to come out of the pits. Will Friedman's just come out quite far away behind. It's interesting with what I've noticed with this league particularly, is that people, if you go out, say if you go out now out of the pits now, you're going to be heavily compromised in Sector 3, because what I've noticed is now everybody does qualifying, F1 qualifying style, massive backing up in Sector 3. So you get warnings on your dashboard, slow car ahead, slow, and you see on the track map everybody going super slow. And it really matters for your first lap, because the track temperature is 27, so it's not actually that much of an issue, but it's about your tyre pressures. Because obviously the window with the tyre pressure in ACC is between 26 and 27. Driving around a track, as Ben's doing now, he nearly just went into the side of, I think, somebody in the car in front of him. Your tyres are not in the optimum window by the end of Sector 2, so you need that Sector 3 to really bring your tyres into that tyre pressure window, and it's no good just sitting stationary at the end of Sector 3, because then your tyres are about half a PSI down. So really, for me, I do some of my best laps in like the second lap once the tyres are up to pressure. But you'll start to see, actually it's not too bad, so I'm completely eating my words here. Yeah, there we go, Ben is completely slowed down before they, just illustrating my point right there, Ben, and he's actually letting a few drivers through. So for Ben, this is not ideal. This makes me nervous, seeing him slow down like this, but it's up to him. That's the way he wants to do it.
Just trying to get Ben in picture at the moment. As you can see, he's just gone through the left-hander.
Oh wait, sorry, I was talking about somebody else actually. I thought I was talking about him, but I wasn't. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. We're going to go back to Kleibo because he started his time lap and he's looking to get a reasonable time of it. The fastest time we saw in practice was a mid 1:33. That is probably going to be about the lap time we're going to see for the pole position lap. Kleibo, and behind him is the 669 of Rombach. And Rombach. Last sequence of corners. And there's 2 more to get through, which are left-handers before the lap is out. So far this season, as far as I know, where he is in the championship, he did rather well in Mount Panorama, it has to be said, did Kleibo, if I could just find his name on here. Yep, so 5th in Mount Panorama, 29th in Laguna Seca. Now you do get 2 championship points for finishing 29th. He'll take that. Not feel like a reward for him, but points are points at the end of the day. And he's posted a 1:35.3. But Connor Byers has gone to the top.
Yeah, there's definitely a significant amount of time. Let's see what Will Friedman's coming across the line. Let's see what he does. And not actually, I was surprised he's not down into the 1:33s, but maybe his tyres are just coming back into the window now, and hopefully he'll start doing a little bit more little faster times. It's all about the pressure, and getting that banker in on your first lap is actually really, really important. As you say, like a kind of a low 34 is probably going to be your top 10, and I say as probably a 33 is, you're looking at a pole time around there.
Morgan Grace to the top then with 134.2. Godfrey only 300ths of a second behind, with Will Freeman in third position. Lap times are continuing to come in. Where is Ben Milden? Because he is coming through the last corner now. Can he maybe get himself in the top 5 with this first time lap? Not if he continues making mistakes like that on the last corner. Milden goes at 9th fastest. And what about those behind who are coming through? Well, this is Brinkoff in the number 13 Porsche, going over the line in a second. That's Brinkoff, the Dutchman. 26th and 24th are his race results so far this season. His 12th so far in this qualifying session in Misano. Will Rayner in the number 5 Ferrari is heading over the line now. And it's not a valid lap time for... Oh yeah, it was. He went 12th fastest, did Rayner. So he's gone up as far as we know. We want to see how Luke Prentice gets on, because he's usually the sort of racecraft kind of driver. Look at where he ended up in Laguna Seca last week.
I mean, I'm surprised he's even taken part. I thought his strategy was to sit in the pit lane and start last, but maybe that's a Bathurst strategy special. Lap times at the top are really changing here. So Busov went fastest for a minute, very quickly replaced by Grace. Now Van Lysart's gone into pole in the McLaren. Where has that come from? We didn't see him at all in practice.
No, we didn't really see it, did we? I think he came in a little bit later, did Van Lyshout, but he's very much coming on form in this qualifying session so far, with less than 9 minutes to go. Plenty of time for things to change. It's very close, with less than 2 tenths separating the top 6.
Interestingly, in terms of purple times, Lysart didn't do any purple sectors. So there's Godefroy, he did a purple sector 1. Will Friedman did a purple sector 2. And Ivanov did a purple sector 3. So actually, that's what it's all about. It's just, I think Max Verstappen had that one time a couple of races ago. It's just no purple sectors, but overall just the fastest time. But that is so close between the top 2. I wonder who's going to pip into the 33s here.
I think it'll be someone. It's just a matter of who and when, really. Freeman, who we are with now, is coming through the last corner. Shouldn't get held up by any traffic on his way to the line.
Whoa, what a time from Nico. Wow, 33.5, there you go.
Freeman goes up to second place, 700ths behind Busov. The track is definitely picking up, and Busov and Freeman are the drivers to beat so far.
That is definitely more of a time. I was thinking it was going to be a low 33s, and I was wondering where these times were coming, when they were going to come, but... yeah, that is super fast from Nico and Will just to do it. It's the thing about qualifying in FRL, it just pushes you. It pushes you and pushes you. Now, Lysart, Godefroy, Grace, all of those guys will be seeing that time and thinking, right, okay, I can do it. And especially the other Lamborghini drivers. I said Porsche earlier, didn't I? Lamborghini drivers, they'll definitely be starting to see that and thinking, I could do that as well, surely. As Sean Cole goes up to 3rd in the Porsche.
Pros in 9th position in the number 23 Audi. We've got the number 43 heading over the line next. Looking to see who that is that's crossed over the line. Couldn't quite see. But either way, Busov is still top. Sean Cole is in 3rd place in the 444 Porsche. Stopped out on circuit. He'll go back to the garage. We'll look to see who else is going to be next crossing over the line. Well, Makovsky's coming through the last corner now. And he's got the number 5 of Will Rayner ahead. Rayner goes up to 16th. Makovsky does not go up the order himself, so he stays where he is. Van Lyshout looking to improve on his time from before, and he doesn't do it on this occasion. And Busov was able to improve his time from before to go 3.5 tenths clear of everyone else.
And he's gone purple every single sector. That is a stonking time from Nico. That is going to take some beating. He is on a mission, isn't he? So you see Ivanov's gone up to 3rd as well. So it's a top 3 Lamborghini. That is the car to be in. Have we ever seen that in ACC so far? Lamborghini, that's a new car, isn't it, from the recent update? But last season, the McLaren was the car to be in. But for this track... I'm quite surprised at that.
It's good to see Lamborghini doing well on a circuit like Misano. You know, it is their home, well, one of their home venues as well.
That's true,
Connor,
yeah.
yeah, Connor Byers is on circuit, he's just slowing down, so he's not on a fast time. The 669 of Rombach is less than 1.5 seconds off the pace. We've just seen a change in position as Ben
Ben
Milden.
Milden's gone up to 5th, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone up into 5th place, and now we are seeing Rombach in the 669 Porsche. 18th he goes. Well, he stays where he is because he didn't actually improve his time.
Yep, and I mean, I have to give a shout out to Ben. It's been discovered this in the past week that his brake pedal has been malfunctioning. So, for what seems like a couple of months now, his spring in his brake pedal was actually not working properly. So he actually was doing the last 2 taco races with a well, it's kind of the spring. I'm not sure exactly what was happening, but he said it was around about 75 to 90% pressure. So he put the brake on, and then the car would just keep going. Oh, it just wouldn't have the same stopping power, obviously, if you're like a fully functioning brake pedal. So that kind of explains some of his slightly strange performances. But let's see. He did say, watch him now. Finish in exactly the same position. So we're expecting an improvement from Ben, but no pressure.
One driver who has made an improvement, that's Godfrey, who's gone up into 3rd position in the Ferrari. So good job there by his standards. We've got Will Rayner coming through the last corner now. He's currently in 18th position by Ferrari. He'll be looking to move up this time around, and he doesn't do it on this occasion, so he'll have to go again. Will. See the number 20 of Ed Sterling come around the last corner, and behind him is the 696 of Faster. Ferrari there as Sterling goes over the line, and it's not an improvement on his time from before. He stays where he is.
Yeah, but it looks like Nico's coming around the final corner to start a new lap. Absolutely sending it round the outside there, trying to get as much of a run in as possible. And this is Nico going to start his... Surely he's not going to go any faster. That is a rapid time, but let's see where he goes. He's really hugging the apex there. He's going to skip over this corner just about within track limits. Is he going to go deep into the braking zone here? Yep, just after the little... just before the braking zone. Hug it round. That Lamborghini is hooked round there. That is a perfect line. Yes, that is an absolute perfect line there from Nico. This is going to be a rapid Sector 1. Can he beat a 23.4? No, I didn't see that. But Godfrey's just done a 23.3, so Godfrey's on a fast lap here as well. I think he should be. We just did a fast sec. Oh, he must have just finished a lap. Sorry, my bad. The ACC isn't updating the live sector times as they go through it. It's only whenever they finish the lap. But yeah, let's see what Nico can do here.
Nico is coming round now to, well, towards the pinks of the circuit. Boney is where turn 11 is. Caro, which Busov is going through, that's the hairpin. And then final left hand of the circuit is what's called Misano. And Busov is about to head through that and complete what could well be his final lap time of this qualifying session. Busov in the Lamborghini. But he improved the time. He does not. So he stays where he is. But it's good for him to get pole position today. Freeman is on circuit, as he's got a fight. Ivanov is on track. Sean Cole is coming through the hairpin now.
And let's see, Will's just coming through. He's just exiting the hairpin onto the fast straight. So let's see what he can do here. Where is Godfrey? Godfrey's just past the line, and he's gone into second. So Will has to. Will needs to do something here. Otherwise, he's going to be starting third.
He's got one more go at it if this doesn't pan out the way he wants it to. He's coming towards the last corner now. Let's see. Balls, but he'll have one more chance to do it. He's trying to do it without exceeding track limits. But no improvement from Will Freeman on this occasion. Got the 74 coming through 174, whichever.
No time's changing here. I mean, the track stayed very similar. It's still optimum track temperature, and it's 26 degrees. So Connor's just pulled off now, so that's it. Must be running out of fuel. Let's see what Nico's coming around the final corner. Let's see if he's going to improve.
Over the line now is Bousov. He does not improve his time, but he gets over the line before the checker flag. So he'll have one more go at it to make sure he stays on pole for this race in Misano. The Pro Tier of Taco Tuesday are some of the finest you'll have seen on ACC. PlayStation.
I think Godefroy is he's bent his lap, so he just went wide. So it's all eyes on Will to see if he can do anything about Nico.
Comes then towards the hairpin of Caro.
Absolutely throws it into there. That is something, really chucking that Lamborghini around. Let's see, can he keep it tidy? I don't know whether he's up on any sectors at all, but it looks fast.
It's going quite fast, so that's it, but is he going fast enough to improve on his time? Will Freeman in the Lamborghini, crossing over the line with the checker flag falling. Does he go up into second place? He does, for 1 minute 33.3. Very nice lap there from Will.
Oh my goodness, that was close, wasn't it? Wow. So what's that? Will did a purple sector 1, but it's Nico with the purple sector 2 and 3, but not by much. Under a tenth between the two Lamborghini drivers. And boy, we got a race on between these two, haven't we?
Do, and Fast has just gone 14th quickest with his last effort as well. At the end of qualifying, it is Nico Bousov who will be on pole position for the race here in Misano, with Will Freeman once again on the front row. Jeffrey Godefroy third alongside Morgan Grace, and we've got Ivanov and Shorkul in 5th and 6th. Bo Milden and Jack Prentice are 7th and 8th, ahead of Patrick Van Lyshow and Luke Prentice running out the top 10. Connor Byers and Melvin Crows are on row 6, followed by Cameron McCuskey and Faster on row 7. Josh Clayton and Adam Sharp on row 8. We've got Rombach and Rayner on row 9. Ed Sterling and Kevin Druin in 19th and 20th. There's Brinkoff and Hutchison on row 11. Laker and Pavizel are on row 12, ahead of Clyde Bower and Gedman. In 27th and last place is Dybel. Well, the race will be underway in around about 5 minutes time. It's the driver's opportunity to get some temperature into the tyres. It is just the 60-minute race tonight with a mandatory pit stop included. You don't have to change tyres. Well, no, you do have to change tyres, but you don't have to refuel if you do not want to.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what limited strategy compared to Bathurst 2 weeks ago. I wasn't privy to what the strategy options were in Laguna Seca. The cars you can do the whole race on a fuel, but really with the FRL rules in terms of having to change tyres, it pretty much you might as well just fill up, half the fuel, half the race fuel, and then put it on at the stop if you're going to spend time obviously doing a tyre change. There is an idea that I have done another league where there's no tyre change requirement, and it's only a pit stop requirement and a fuel requirement. I have to say that just means there's literally only one strategy, and that is if it's a 40 lap. Oh, well, if it's like a 20 lap race, then you put in 18 laps of fuel or 19 laps of fuel, and then you do a splash and dash at the end to do it all in one tyre. So it's good that FRL does have this rule. I think a tyre change is definitely needed to encourage some variations in the strategy, that's for sure. So we shall see what happens. I'm just trying to think of prior Misano races, and unfortunately I did race in a Misano race 2 seasons ago as a reserve, and you were commentating on that very race, and I was leading into the final sector, and then I somehow managed to turn my engine off by inadvertently pressing my X button on my steering wheel, and that ended poorly, so I never got to see any strategy play out. So yeah, coming back onto this track is somewhat mixed emotions, but enough about me.
drivers are back on the grid now. I don't suppose anyone is looking to start from the pit lane. We've got 27 drivers on the grid, which is not too bad. Some are missing, but I can imagine why, with it being Halloween, some of which do have families, and of course they will probably want to spend time with their loved ones, and they should be back for next week's race, which will be, looking at the calendar that we have for season 11 of Taco Tuesday. We've been to Bathurst, we've been to Laguna Seca, tonight is Misano, afterwards we go to Suzuka, Snetterton, Watkins Glen, Alton Park, Zandvoort, and then Indianapolis on December the 12th.
What one are you looking most forward to? Is this the highlight, or?
I mean, the highlight could well have been Bathurst, to be honest with you, but I do enjoy watching the cars go round Alton Park, in all honesty.
Yeah, Alton Park is. I don't think I've done that actually before. I don't think I've done that race in ACC. Is that the one where we did it? I want to say we did it a couple of seasons. No, we did it last season, didn't we? Was it? It was one of those British tracks, and it was in the night time. I don't think I was racing in that one. Is that the one I'm thinking about? Right?
Not 100% sure, but either way, I mean, it was Donington. It was one of the endurance races that I was involved in commentary for. I think at times you might have been involved in it, because I think you were alongside Will Freeman, weren't you?
Oh yeah, on the swap one, yeah. I think that was it, but I don't think I could race in that one. So I think someone else took my place. I can't remember exactly who it was, but there is a growing movement within FRL of well, there's certain people who just hate British tracks. I think Conor Byers is one of them. Absolutely loves them in GT4s, loves them in any other series, but GT3s, no. And I can see why, but limited opportunities for overtaking. But I'm sure spectating it might not be that exciting. But I mean, personally, I love the challenge of dragging quite a fast car around like tight, twisty circuits, which were never built for GT3s ever. But Misano is not one of those circuits. It feels like it's being built for GT3s. That's for sure.
It's FIA Grade 2 for your information, so it wouldn't be able to host a Formula 1 race, even if it... To be honest, I think even if it did get an FIA Grade 1, you have to think about all the facilities for the fans when they're using it, so... we're starting with a little bit more work to do if it was to ever host Formula 1, which I don't think will be the case. We're very close to getting underway with the formation lap, 15 seconds away. It'll be a rolling start once the formation lap is over, and then we'll be going green flag racing here in Italy. Maybe see an Italian driver come out and top in.
So I was just reading the Discord chat, and Morgan Grace was reporting that track improvement was crazy at the end, and then did a decent lap and was 4/10 up on his final lap. I mean, that is track improvement, but it's also you can just hook the lap round. Sometimes you can't just be wildly up. It's all in that middle that kind of sequence of corners, where you have to be quite tight on the power and everything. It's about how if you hook that up, you can gain so much time. So track improvement, yes, but definitely a bit of driver skill. You're just getting better, Morgan. Well done. So the big thing to look out for here is lap 1, turn 1, as it always is. It looks like from looking at obviously we had the Bathurst experience, which we shall not speak about. And then there was the Laguna Seca. I watched the Sprint Sunday start. I think it was the Sprint Sunday start. And it was absolutely... It's funny, because Sector 1, turn 1, perfect. Turn 2, turn 3, anything but. So the drivers seem to respect turn 1, but then they don't respect the rest of the first lap. So I'm going to hold my breath for the whole of the first lap. And if there's no incidents, great. But after turn 1, it's not great. So yeah, as always, 60-minute race. It's relatively not. It's not that hard to overtake at this track. You can get run some people. So just keep it easy, and hopefully we get all the top. I just at least want the top 5 to at least get through, and we get a battle between all 5 of them, because they're all. I mean, especially Nico and Will. Hopefully they keep it clean and give us a race-long battle.
Let's run down on the grid then for the 60-minute race, round 3 of Taco Tuesday in the Pro category, season 11. Nico Busov on pole ahead of Will Freeman alongside. We've got 2 Lamborghinis on the front row. Then we've got 2 Ferraris on row 2 with Jeffrey Godefroy leading Morgan Grace. In 5th position is Ivanov and Kull. There's Ben Milton and Jack Prentice on the 4th row. Patrick Van Lyshout and Luke Prentice running out the top 10 ahead of Connor Byers and Melvin Crows. Cameron Mikoski and Faster are 13th and 14th with Josh Clayton and Adam Sharp on the 8th row. Romback and Rayner make up row 9 ahead of Sterling and Druin. Bas Brinkoff and Stuart Hudson on the 11th row of the grid, followed by Joel Leher and Farclough Vissel. Clyboa and Gedman off 25th and 26th. At the back is Dybel, who was the slowest of them all. We're about a couple of corners away before we go. Green flag racing in Misano, and who is going to come out on top here as they all look to get through the first sequence of corners safe and sound. They come onto the pit straight and the green flag will fly in due course. They would usually wait until everyone is on the pit straight so that everyone has a fair chance of an opportunity to get off to a good start here. So when the green flag waves will be underway, and the green flag is waved right now, and we're underway in Misano as we watch Busov cover off Freeman into turn 1. He's got through, but also look out for Jeffrey Godefroy, who's on the inside of Grace. Freeman actually as well. He's getting alongside Freeman. He's into 2nd place. He's Godefroy. Excellent move there from the Belgian, who's ahead of the Lamborghini. So Freeman is down a place at the start. Ivanov has had a really terrible start. He's way out of the top 10 after starting 5th place on the grid as the drivers making their way through the first sector, and it looks so that everyone has got through there without incident.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ivanov, I saw him. He just got like a bit of a swapper. It looks like in turn 2, and he just must have had to let the whole field through. So, awful start from Ivanov, but what a start from Godefroy. Great to get his Ferrari up there. Will just got probably not the best of launches through for turn 3 and 4. But it looks like Will might have a bit of a run on Godefroy here. How daring is he going to want to be? Because he probably knows he's got the pace to compete with Nico. Will he try and make a move here?
Well, we're just looking further back. Freeman is trying to make a move on Godefroy. He looks to the inside, going into the right-hander, and now to the hairpin of Caro. And we'll ride on board with Freeman as they come out of the hairpin. And he waits behind for now. So Godefroy going after Busov for the race lead. Godefroy, who has yet to win in Taco Tuesday since he made his debut in Tier 1 at the beginning of last season. Had a consistent run, did Godefroy, but never really was in the realistic sort of fight for the championship, in all honesty, as they all complete the first lap, and no incidents so far in this race.
No, and that's really great to see. Just looking a bit further down the order, it looks like I can't tell whether Ben got past Luke Prentice or he's still behind his brother. 2 Prentice drivers there, but Ben Milden up into 7th place there. And Melvin Cruz is in 10th. I mean, he said he enjoyed the balance of his Audi, but he's still quite far down. I saw somebody just towards the back just going a little bit off there. I can't see. There's a 3-car battle between Kleiber, Hutchison, and I think that's Leha. And Leha's being pushed off there by Dybel in the Ferrari. So plenty of wheel-to-wheel banging there as Hutchison's getting involved too in the BMW.
Hutchison's looking to follow Leha through, and he goes up into 25th position as he goes past Dybel, and at the back is Kleiboer. So even though they're at the back of the field, they're still fighting. They are fighting for points after all. Should they all finish, they will score points. And that's what they'll be chasing here as Kleiboer gets through, or looking to get through on Dybel as they come onto the back straight. But back at the front, Busov's leads, but Godefroy is right on his tail and is looking to stay with him and push him into a mistake here.
Now, what the unknown is Lamborghini and versus Ferrari tyre wear. What does that look like? How much on the ragged edge do you have to be? The Ferrari is planted. It is, once you get it into its setup window, it is planted, and it is a really, really strong car, and no big long straights for the Ferrari to have any real deficit to. So it'll be a matter of Godefroy just stalking his prey really with Nico, if that's the way you want to put it. So we'll see how. But I'm quite impressed of how quick he was actually in qualifying and in practice. So yeah, this bodes well. I mean, just stick under the slipstream and almost wait for Nico to make a mistake.
Milton running in P7 behind Jack Prentice. They come through. Luke Prentice got off to a decent start from where he started. He started 10th on the grid and he's now 8th. And Ivanov is down to 12th place after starting in 5th position. I think he's probably the biggest loser out of all those at the start. He'll want to make up for lost time.
Indeed, I'm just looking at, there's a bit of a battle here between Melvin and Van Lyshout, who, if you remember in qualifying, he was the first one to put in like a properly quick time, and he's down in 9th place, so I get the feeling he could probably be a little bit better in that McLaren. As we see Ben on Jack Prentice, is he going to try and move down here into this corner? It's so tricky, you just have to be so careful. Maybe I take that back about it being quite easy to overtake. It's all about putting your rival out of position here. Is what he's trying to do with Jack here, is trying to get him to take an alternative line, and he's finding it quite tricky. So definitely probably quite a lot of stalking your prey and not doing too much dive bombing, but I have to say all the drivers are being really well behaved. I mean, this is brilliant to see. Oh, so we just seen Possible, who's just gone off there in what turn is that?
That'll be the
but he's got damage and he's into the box.
So he's coming in straight away to get his mandatory stop done and out of the way. So he is in. Go to the back of the field, but at least he gets his pit stop done and out of the way.
Yeah. There's a great battle between Chris Gedman here and Leha and Sterling. It's these guys towards the back end of the points, but as you say, there's good points to be had as Chris Gedman makes contact with Sterling. Or, with Leha.
Leha's making up ground so far in this race. It was towards the back of the field and he's made up a few positions so far, so he could be one to look out for later on when the pit stops are underway. Busov 1 second clear of Godefroy now. You can look at the top 5, they're all sticking together.
And Melvin's just gotten past Van Lyshout here. I think they might go side by side actually down the straight. Melvin was kind of going round the outside there and made Lyshout just sort of take a slightly different line and got through. So that's Melvin up into 9th place now. That's the way to do it. Put your opponent off.
Rose fending off Van Lyshout, Byers, Ivanov and Clayton in the battle for 9th position. Princes have been overtaken by Ben Milden. Again, what will be lap number 5, and Busov is 9/10 clear of Godefroy in P2, who's now under threat from Will Freeman.
Indeed, we shall. So that's Will now. I kind of thought this might happen. It might be a bit of a pendulum between the top 3 here. As we see the 69 has gone off. That's Die Barrel. And he looks like he's had contact with the wall as well. I'm not sure where he's having contact here. It's quite a while to go off until you're off into the wall there. So that's a massive spin from him.
Say the 34 of Popizel is coming out of the pits now after his stop. He is down a lap. At least he's not going to be fighting with anyone on circuit. Soft leads, Godefroy 2nd, Freeman 3rd. It's Cole, Grace, Jack Prentice, Ben Milden, Luke Prentice, Melvin Crows and Patrick Van Lyshout. Your top 10 at the moment, but it is still early days here in Misano. There will be a mandatory pit stop with tyres needing to be changed. In terms of whether you choose to refuel or not, that is the driver's choice.
Yes, I think the drivers won't be having too much fuel. I think you're probably looking about 14 laps worth of fuel at this point. So, probably looking at coming in into the pit stops probably at around about the 30-minute mark. So still a while to go. Really, they're just trying to get into the rhythm and sizing up their opponents. I'm just watching Ben really just stalking Prentice through the corners here. You get the feeling that he is definitely quicker than Jack, but he can't get through. And really, if he gets past Jack, then he can close up to Morgan in front of him. But it kind of get the feeling he's being quite frustrated. Or is this some family at play here? Is Jack Prentice backing Ben into his brother? So Ben is quite he's the meat in the Prentice sandwich at the moment.
We're on board with Milton now as they come out of the first sector of the lap and give him away been riding over the curves. He's actually dropped back from Jack, so he'll have to wait for a little bit more time before he decides to make his move.
Yeah, that's exactly what can happen if you get a little bit too aggressive over those curbs. But I say if they keep battling, it looks like they brought Melvin into the conversation as well. So all the while, I think Prentice is forming a little bit of a truly train here, it has to be said, for early 2000s F1 reference there.
Yep. Well, Milden's behind Jack Prentice, who is the cork in the bottle, and Milden is looking to make his way through. And he's very much alongside, and he's very much the faster driver than the two. He's up the inside. Are they going to stay on the track? They are, and Milden pulls off a fantastic overtake. He gets through on Jack Prentice, and that's good enough to put him up into 6th place.
Wow, I was covering my eyes during that. I'm sure Ben was as well. He was probably closing his eyes and just going for it. That is a fantastic move, and let's see what he can do going forward. And see if he can close up the gap to Morgan in front of him. But wow, that was such a good lap as the two brothers are battling here. Or is it the two? Sorry, it's Melvin and Luke. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Melvin up on the inside for a moment there, but Luke was able to resist, and Kroos nearly spun the car around through turn 3 and had to collect it by lifting off the throttle, and he was very lucky not to get rear-ended by the cars behind.
Oof, yeah, Melvin just thought he could take an opportunity here with Prentice being slowed down a little bit, but yeah, that is needs to be a little bit more careful there. Surprisingly, actually, Prentice is hanging on to the back of Ben, so maybe it wasn't the cork in the bottle after all. But let's see what Ben can do now as he's in front. Looks like Godefroy has picked up the pace and is still 6/10 behind Nico. Will has fallen back a little bit actually into the clutches of Sean Cool.
Yep, so Freeman in 3rd place is dropping back actually from Godefroy, who's less than 7/10 behind Busov through sector 2. I think it's a matter of time before he decides to go for a move at some point as Godefroy. No, does he wait for the pit stops, or does he think, do you know what, I'm going to try and go for it?
Indeed, yes. And as we saw, with Melvin just there, you can quite easily just get out of shape, can't you? And when you're going through the first couple of corners and you try and make a move, it's quite dusty off. Well, I don't know if ACC simulates dust, but it definitely isn't great offline. Definitely off the racing line, you can really get yourself out of shape. And that'll bring, if Will can get a little bit further forward and take advantage of that, then he can. But he probably needs to pick up the pace just a little bit. But no rush at the moment. Still got loads of time. Still, obviously, good 50, nearly 48 minutes left of the race. But some very close battling going on between 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Really, really close together. I'm looking at Ivanov and Byers and Leishout, who are just. By the way, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Yeah, there's a bit of a train going on there. So, yeah. Oh wow, as Ivanov just goes for a bit of a dive bomb there into Connor Byers and takes the move. That is how you do it.
It's very much how you do it. Ivanov got the car slowed down in time and was able to make the move stick. But Byers isn't having any of it as they go side by side through Tremonto. Byers looking to retaliate here, and it looks like he's got back through again on the Lamborghini. But they're going to go side by side on this long back straight before they come towards the kink. I think Byers has got this one for now, as Ivanov will have to tuck in as they both go through the right-hander before Caro, and so Byers goes back through into 11th position.
Fantastic move, and that's brought Josh Clayton up into towards Ivanov now, so he will definitely be happy with that. Clayton, another person who has asked for a shout out. Hello, Josh Clayton, hope you're doing well. Teammate also for me for another endurance series. So yeah, good to see you up into well, at least I was going to say up into the point scoring positions, but every position is a point scoring position at this point.
In 13th position, behind him is Cameron Mikowski and Faster, and Adam Sharp and Will Rayner are a little bit further back. We're now on lap number 9. In terms of the number of laps we're going to have, I think we're almost looking at around about the 38 or 39 lap boundary, I would say. So you probably want to be pitting around about lap 20 to get your mandatory pit stop done, which gives you a good set of tyres for the end of the race.
Yep, and the track temperature's come down a bit. It's down to 22 degrees now, so up from the high of about 27 in qualifying. So hopefully the drivers have got their tyre pressure sorted a little bit, so it's not too, they're not going a bit too high. But they'll still have to be looking after the tyres. It's quite, there's no real brakes on it, no real kind of brakes for the tyres in this whole race, really. You have to, there's that straight, but even in the straight, it still has a fast right kink. So they'll definitely be sliding a little bit as they come towards the end of the lap, but should be fine. Tyre preservation isn't actually that much of an issue, really, in FRL in these 60-minute races at all.
Busov continuing to lead out in front, 1 second clear over Godefroy. Freeman and Cull are next behind. Grace 5th. It's Ben Milden who's 5 seconds off him in 6th place, and he's actually under threat from Jack Prentice again as they come through turns 1, 2 and 3. Ben is able to hold his nerve and stay in front for now.
Indeed, yeah, I was quite surprised Ben hasn't actually closed the gap up to Morgan. He was looking rapid behind Prentice. He looked like he couldn't get, he was getting held up by him, but he's actually gone ahead, and he's only half a second really to Prentice, within a second of the two Prentice brothers. So that might be Ben, but I mean, 6th place is still a very, very good result for him, considering a good result. You get plenty of points for finishing 6th. So in a track that might not be the Audi's best, I mean, he's the fastest Audi, so that's an accolade that he can be happy with so far.
Staying with Jack Prentice at the moment because he's behind Ben Milden, and I think this battle is going to go on for quite a bit. Stuart Hodgson has come into the pits for his mandatory stop. I don't think he's suffered any damage as far as I know, so I think this is just an early pit stop for the Brit, and he'll likely go down a lap by the time he rejoins. So Hodgson will leave his box in a moment now. He's down a lap, so he'll probably want to wait until the traffic has gone by before he gets released, but not cause too much trouble with the other drivers. Short circuit as this is Misano track, 4.2 kilometers. There are plenty of areas around the circuit to get overtakes done. I've got the 320 off the racetrack. Now who's that that's gone off? It's Leher who's had a spin, and he's got back on the circuit now, and the handling of the car is not particularly the greatest. I think maybe just getting rid of some of the dust or something like that, but he's continuing on his way.
And Conor Bowers has just gotten ahead of Leishout and Conor's up into 10th. It was a great move, just a dive bomb really into, not really a dive bomb, but into turn 4. So good on Conor for getting through. So he'll look to close the gap up to Melvin. He needs to look after his tyres a little bit better there with that sort of sideways moment. And look at the Prentice brothers. They're stalking Ben. Again, this battle will not end really between those three. It's so close between those.
Keeping each other's cars alone in a way, so they're not like damaging them in somewhat. They are respecting each other in terms of the way that the gain overtake's done. Now, that Prentice
did Ivanov make a mistake? He's down in 15th, or was he not up a bit further? Or
he was a bit further up, yes. He says he's lost a few more positions as Ivanov, so he's down to 15th place. His race isn't getting any better by the looks of things.
No, he started 3rd, didn't he?
Started 5th actually, did Ivanov.
5th, yeah.
He's now down to 15th. And we've got our first drive-through of the race as well, going to Stuart Hutchison, and that's for track limits. The first of what could be what could be many this evening.
That is surprising as he comes into the pits. I'm guessing he's probably going to retire, I think. I don't know if you still get points even if you retire, because he's obviously going to finish. Well, he's probably going to finish 27th. I'm imagining Backlav Possible is going to get ahead of him, so I think he might still get points, but wow, that's a disappointing race from him.
Yeah, well, he's actually taking the drive-through. He's not stopping in the box, so he's continuing on his way.
Good.
So good on Stuart for doing that. So
I think he's going to come out and he will actually be racing the 34. So He's probably just seen that. It's like, well, I'll get a race out of it. I've done that before, where I've fallen down to the back of the grid, or, you know, at least quite far down, and you see somebody else who's also had a similarly bad race, and you thought, let's make both of our races better, and let's just battle.
Yeah, well, he's behind for Bizzle now. He's only a few seconds off him, so he's got some time to make up. They have both made their mandatory stops already, so it's going to be a mad dash to the finish for those. But I don't think they're probably going to be reaching up to the others unless we see any more misfortune from anyone, possibly with penalties coming later, which could happen to anyone, and I mean anyone. And,
yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention you, of course, Craig, in the past.
No, not at all. I never get track, you know, drive-through track limits whenever I'm leading a race. No, that never happens to me. It looks like Josh Clayton, he's to Van Lyshout. He's fallen down the field quite quickly, because now Josh is on his gearbox now. Connor has gapped him nearly 3 seconds. I'm pretty sure he only got by him like a couple of laps ago. So yeah, he's the McLaren is really struggling on his tires. He is the only McLaren in the field, and very much unlike the F1 team. Doesn't seem to be looking after, is it tires, or is just the pace is going away? But yeah, that's a poor showing.
Some of the drivers are beginning to struggle on their tyres. Ivanov is in from what was 15th position, so he's gone into the pit lane, and he'll hope to get back out rather quickly before the leaders come around to lap him. But yeah, Van Lyshout is not having the best times of it at the moment. He seems to be struggling on his tyres and keeping the car on the circuit. Usov's lead is 1.5 seconds as he comes round to complete lap 13. Will Freeman 2 seconds off Godefroy, and Sean Cord not too far behind either.
I wonder when they'll blink, because there'll definitely be an undercut here. There's definitely no doubt about it. So, if I'm Will, I pit. Probably before everybody else, especially before Godefroy and Nico. Because if you remember on that race which I'm referring to, where I got the track penalty on like the last three or four laps to go, if you remember in that race as Clayton comes into the pits, I took the lead by undercutting. So the undercut is surprisingly effective in ACC, especially in 1.9, as the tyre wear is just a little bit higher. So if I was in Will's position, that's what I'd do. He's kind of falling back from Godefroy and Nico, so I would say pit, try and undercut. Probably I would start pitting around the 35-minute mark, actually, if I was him, and then gap them, and then just park the bus for the rest of the race.
Seems to be the way to go about it. I mean, Clayton and Sharp are in together, and I expect them maybe to get in front of Ivanov, although Ivanov may have something to say on that. This could be interesting, actually, because Ivanov is going through, well, towards Caro. Clayton and Sharp are still on their boxes as we speak, so I'll let you know once they have left their boxes. As Ivanov comes through, well, Clayton's left the box, but Sharp to do the same. Right now he does so. They are both leaving the pits, I should say. I think they're going to be ahead of Ivanov. I'm mistaken. No, I think Ivanov may just get in front of both of them.
They need to be careful with the leaders here getting blue flags.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, see, Ivanov is ahead of Clayton, and he's effectively up a position because he was behind him before the pit stops had begun. And yes, you're right, Adam Sharp is going to have to adhere to blue flags, but it won't be too long, I don't think, before we start seeing pit stops involving the leaders.
Well, I would still say that's early pit stop. That is always the risk of pitting a bit too early. Especially when you're closer down to the end of the field, is that you pit into the blue flags and it just ruins your race, because FOR rules are that if you get blue flags, you must yield within a lap, and ideally on the next available straight. So those are the rules. So you can't just keep going, even though you're technically faster because you're on the fresher tyre. You still have to yield, and it can absolutely destroy your race. So you have to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Getting on with some pace, actually, is Adam Sharp. He's pulling away from Will Freeman, so no need for him to let him through just yet. As we look to see what's going on in the fight for 6th position, because Ben Milden is still ahead of the Prentices, with Pros in 9th. So it's a 4-car battle for 6th place. We're seeing Van Lyshout and Cameron Makowski go into combat. Makowski looking to the
Oh,
outside.
Melvin's into the gravel. Oh, he's so close. He was in the gravel there for a second as he was trying to go around the outside of... Look, sorry to interrupt you there, but... Oh, I thought that was curtains for Melvin. He has been wrangling that Audi through that corner. That is... Every time I jump on board with him going through that straight, he is... Yeah, really having some rear sideways moments.
He's almost having the bit between his teeth at the moment, is Kroos, as they come through the last turn. And Kroos will be looking to find his way through and up into 8th position. Now, what about the leaders? When are they going to choose to pit in? Well, they've started another lap, and they're almost coming up behind Josh Clayton. So if you're Busov, what do? Do you come in now to avoid getting held up in the traffic?
I mean, it shouldn't be held up, but, you know, you kind of do. He's got enough of a gap, I think, but Godfrey is definitely stalking him. Godfrey's on his pace. So I wonder if this is now starting to see, is the Lambo just not that good on the tyres? Because you see Will also in the Lambo, and he's a good 3.5 down now on Godfrey, so he's almost checked out of the fight, even though he's got the fastest lap. But that just tells you a lot about the race pace of the Lambo isn't too hot. So maybe Nico could benefit from coming in a little bit earlier.
Godfrey's still less than a second behind Busov. He'll take any opportunity should Busov make a mistake. Round now, there's a hairpin of car rope, and turn. And are we seeing any pit stops involving the leaders? Busov and Godfrey continue on, Freeman continues on, Sean Krull continues on, and Morgan Grace also continues on. So no pit lane activity involving the leaders just yet.
No, it would be quite early to come in. You would only come in if you're really trying an aggressive undercut here. Maybe Will's thinking about just preserving a podium at this point. I'm just looking at Melvin. He's getting really frustrated being tucked up behind Luke Prentice, because obviously they're in a train at the moment, and anytime there's even, you know, the one straight that they do have where you even get like even a slither of a slipstream, his brother is also in the slipstream. Was that a track drive-through for Die Barrel?
Yep. Second recipient to fall foul of track limits, so he'll have to come in within the next 3 laps to get that drive-through penalty served. I think he's going to get it done and out of the way right now.
Yes, you can't do it obviously while you come in for your mandatory pit stop. You have to do it outside of that. Rombach has pit. I'm really surprised at his pace, because wasn't he qualified really well for Bathurst, didn't he?
Well, he may have been around about the top 10ish, but he's not exactly been on the pace here tonight, so he is a bit somewhat off compared to what we've seen from him normally. But the leaders are coming through the the penultimate turn of the circuit, and there's still no pit lane activity involved in them right now. I don't think Freeman's going to go for the pits just yet. Just waiting back until the time is right. It'll probably be around about the halfway point.
Yeah. If I was Melvin, I would pit now as well, because he is just stuck behind Prentice. He's not coming into the pits now, but he is right on his gearbox, especially going down the straight on through the two right-hand kinks. He was really frustrated. He was trying to go for the inside, and then Prentice did sort of block him off there, fairly legally. But yeah. There's a couple of drivers here I'd definitely say you should be pitting. If you're behind a train and you can't get past, you need to pit. So I'm kind of surprised Godfrey hasn't pitted, but I suppose if he's got better tyre wear, maybe he'll keep going. But yeah, I feel like people could be maybe a little bit more aggressive here in their strategy.
He's taking it easy at the moment, in second place behind Busov. See that the leaders are closing a little bit more on the back markers ahead. And will it be... Well, there's still somewhat of a gap between Busov and the number 44, which is Ivanov. Towards the end
that is true, actually. To be fair, whenever you do pit, yeah, you get into traffic, and maybe that's what they're thinking about. I mean, they're a bit more smarter. I mean, Will has fallen so far behind. He's now in the clutches of Sean Cole, who we haven't really seen all race, just kind of minding his own business in fourth. So, and Will's coming into the pits.
Yep. So.
And Godfrey.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Godfrey on the onboard, as we were watching, is into the pit lane. Now we'll see how long it actually takes for him to complete this stop as we await for stop. So I would say it's around about 31:22 on my watch. So could we expect him to get out within 30 seconds or leave the box within the next 30 seconds?
We shall certainly find out. So I would imagine, so you'd probably be looking at adding around 45-50 litres of fuel at this stage to get you through to the end of the race, maybe just to play it a little bit safe. So still quite a fair whack of fuel to put on, especially with changing tyres. So let's see where they play out. As Godfrey now leaves his box, yeah.
34 seconds I've clocked on my time, so he leaves the pits. And I think he's going to go out in some relatively clean air, is Godfrey. So that's actually very, very important for his race. Now it's down to Busov in terms of what he decides to do.
I think it probably doesn't matter what Nico's going to do. If Godfrey is number 3, that's Kleiber. Oh dear.
Yeah, he's the third driver. I think this could end up being a regular feat throughout the field here, as Busov goes for the pit lane, but he's been held up by the bat marker ahead. It won't make too much of a difference, I don't think, but this is not ideal for Busov, who's in that fight with Jeffrey Godfrey for the race lead.
Yeah, I'd say Godfrey's. You can't control that. You obviously can't. You just have to balance that. But I think Godfrey has got his goose cooked, so to speak. I think Godfrey is going to get ahead here, as long as Godfrey has done a clean and tidy lap, which it looks like he has done. But you clock 34 seconds for Godfrey, so he did. That's a slightly slower stop than you would expect.
I think it was like 29:48 or something like that when Busov stopped at his marks. So it's had 20 seconds in the box. When we get to 29:18, he'll have been there for 30 seconds. Just about to complete his stop now, and that was like 33, so that's slightly quicker than what Godfrey had done. We want to go to Godfrey because he is coming through the last, or almost the last turn of the circuit, and I think Busov is going to retain the lead here. And then we've got another drive-through penalty, and it's Ed Sterling.
Sterling, yeah.
Yeah, who hasn't pitted yet. So he's going to fall down the order.
I think Godfrey's got the race lead here. I think he's got it. Oh, this is going to be so close.
Very close indeed. Very close. They're going to go side by side, but Busov is going to retain the lead ahead of Godfrey. So I would say the gap is round about the same, if not slightly more, than what it was before the pit stops had begun between the pair of them.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Godfrey didn't have the best stop in the world. I think if you said it was 34 seconds and Nico got 33, that would outdo the advantage that you would get. So wow, so game on as Ben comes into the pits now as well, and we got a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Van Lieshout, oh dear.
Yeah, so it's a 30-second stop and go penalty for Patrick Van Lieshout. That has totally destroyed his race and any chance of a good haul of points. I mean, even if he fell to 27th place, he'd still get 4 championship points. So if I was him, I'd just keep going.
Yep, absolutely. Godfrey seems to have made a mistake as well, so he's fallen further behind Nico, so he needs to get a move on if he wants to win this race. And less laps like that, probably just frustration that hasn't worked out for him. Now I'm just wondering when the Ben Prentice brothers Melvin battle, where's that going to end up here? As Ben's in the pits.
Yeah, so is Sterling. I think that'll be to serve his drive-through. Durin's in and Grace is in. So Grace is leaving the pits now. Busov is coming round. I think this is going to be rather close actually, or will it be? Because Morgan Grace was quite some way behind. He's just leaving the pits now, but I think Busov should be in front of him. As will Godfrey, who should go through. Freeman's quite a way behind actually, so this is going to be quite close between him and Grace, but I think he'll have the upper hand this time. So Freeman is in front of Grace, but he's fallen quite some way behind Godfrey now.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's happened to Melvin. Melvin Cruz is down in 19th. So, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the Ben Milden Prentice battle. I have no idea what's going on there. I didn't see what happened, but he's fallen way back.
Well, there's pit stops of others as well, so he'll move up a few more positions. Joel Leher is still yet to pit, as is Jack Prentice, as is Sean Cull.
Right. Trying to figure all of this out really, and yeah, that's I'd like to see maybe an onboard of maybe what happened to Melvin during the maybe it was a bit like what happened to Nico, where he got stuck behind a back marker going into the pits, or something like that, or maybe just completely missed his box. But that, I mean, that's a serious amount of time that he's lost. He's up to 14th, but yeah, if you remember, he was fighting with the two Prentice brothers and Ben for quite a lot. Ben has seemed to have dropped behind Luke Prentice actually, so Ben's lost that position. Obviously, with with Prentice you had to stop. So some different strategy as Leha comes into the pits. So Sean must be feeling good on the tyres there. I wonder what his strategy is. Is his strategy just to go to the end and do a splash and dash with a tyre change?
That could well be the case, because I think he's trying to go as far as he can. It'll probably go to around about 15 minutes to go before he does make that stop. So if that's the case, then we're probably looking at around a no more than 20-second pit stop, most certainly. Maybe even around about 15. He's coming in now, though, is Sean Cull, so not too long.
Okay.
I think that's because of the traffic that he was stuck behind.
Potentially, yeah. So we'll see where he drops out of. So that might be Will's sort of saving grace in a way. That Sean's kind of gone long there, but he'll be, he'll obviously have fresher tyres as he goes through to the end of the race. Godefroy is, sorry, go on.
So I was just saying, I've clocked it at 25 minutes exactly. So there is your marker for how long this pit stop will take for Sean Cull. I don't expect him to get out in front of either Busov, Godefroy, Freeman or Grace, but never say never. Whereabouts are the likes of Busov and Caro? They're just coming through the right-hander before Caro. And I have to say Sean Cull has been in his box for about 30 seconds now, so he should be getting out very quickly. But in actual fact, he's had a longer pit stop than what Godefroy and Busov have, so that's not really helped Cull one bit. And you can see that Busov and Godefroy have come a little bit closer now, so the fight is very much back on in the fight for the race win here in Misano, as the leaders are now on lap 23, while Jack Prentice is in the race lead on track, but he's still yet to make his mandatory stop. And Ed Sterling is back on circuit, but he's yet to take his drive-through. He thought he came in for a pit stop, and that didn't actually count as his mandatory stop, probably because he didn't change the tyres. And a drive-through penalty as Ed Sterling pulls off the circuit, and I think that's curtains for his race now. And I think it'll be curtains for Patrick van Lyshout, because that's his second penalty of the race, and it's for track limits this time.
I'm super surprised at these track limits. I was saying something there, but I put my controller on mute, so apologies for that. It looks like Will got ahead of Sean, actually quite convincingly so. So Sean went long there, despite the problems that Will must have had in his box. He's kind of comfortably in that position. So a comfortable third place for Will, but it's anything but for the lead. So Godefroy's really gapped and pulled the gap up to Nico there, and it looks like we're going to have a battle for the race lead for the remainder of this race.
Very much so. Busov and Godefroy are very much nose to tail. 0.6 of a second it was when they went through sector 2 on this lap. You can see them in your picture. The 147 Ferrari of Godefroy behind the 95 Porsche of Nico Busov as they come round to start another lap, and it's very much getting intense between these two, but they are keeping it clean throughout, which is what we want to be seeing. Sean Cull 2 seconds behind Will Freeman, but the pit stop had put him in front of Morgan Grace.
Yeah, but now, so he's fallen into the clutches of Morgan Grace. Morgan Grace, who was obviously Moggs in previous season, has gone by. Whenever we all changed to the real name system, I was definitely confused at who everybody was, but it's funny how you get used to real names now. It looks a bit more professional, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So he's fallen into Grace's. Sorry.
Yep, so just looking at Grace, because he's all over the back of Sean Cull, but he's almost running wide a little bit. Patrick van Lyshout has stayed in the race, and look and see how far he's behind Stuart Hutchinson, and he's actually behind him, but I think he's ahead of Papizzle. So he's down in 25th place now after he's serving his second penalty. Jack Prince is in the pits and he stops at 21.38. I think he missed his marker a little bit there. That will cost him a little bit of time. But he won't get back in front of Nico Busov, but it could well be a shorter pit stop for him. So 21.38 was the marker I left for myself. And it'll probably be about 30 seconds, I would say, so around about 21.08 he will have left his box. Let's see, does he get out in time?
Oh, it's taking a bit longer.
It's taking a bit longer, yeah, and I think that overstepping the mark, that took him 38 seconds for him to do that stop. So that's a poor stop there for Jack Prentice, given how long left in the race we have. I don't see him getting out in front of his brother Luke this time. No, he's behind him.
I mean, pit stop it's 30 seconds. That's how long a tire change is, and you get your fueling done within that. So there's not, 38 seconds is definitely, you've way overshot the mark there.
Out there, and he's behind Connor Byers. He's behind Ivanov. And he's just out in front of Clayton, so he's in 10th place now, is Jack. So overstepping the marks in his box has cost him dear.
Yep, it's so easy to do, to be fair. Like, I'm sitting here and commentating on people, but, I've done that so many times myself. It's really, really tricky. Melvin's just gone past Mikowski there. Bit of a strange move from Mikowski, but he's just gone way off to the right there. I think he got a bit of a swapper there in his Lambo, so Melvin continues the fight back from whatever issue he had before.
Driver who's continuing to apply all the pressure on is Jeffrey Godefroy in second place. They're still within a second of each other. Busov with the fastest lap of the race now. You get a point for setting the fastest lap in Taco Tuesday this season. Now Busov, look at his form so far this season. We went into this round third in the championship with a 4th place finish in Bathurst and a 2nd place finish in the Gunnissaker. He's about to go one better here today. And Will Freeman, who is in 3rd place, will keep hold of the lead in the championship as he'll have a win, a 2nd and a 3rd place to his name.
I mean, those fastest laps, they can definitely add up towards, if the season continues as it does, that will be important. Who knows, it could. I mean, the top 3 are separated by 2 points at the moment in the championship, so those fastest laps, just got to get them on the board.
There's not a lot of time left in the race, really. Got less than a third of the race to go. Busov leading on lap 26. Got to fight 6/10 behind with Will Freeman in 3rd place. Playing the safe game at the moment. He's not interested in the fight for the win at the moment. He's just happy to stay where he is, ahead of Sean Cull, who's had a good race today by his standards, with Morgan Grace 5th, Luke Prentice, Ben Mildin's had a fine race in 7th, with Connor Byers surprisingly in 8th place. Ivanov has recovered well to 9th after a poor start to the race.
Yeah.
And Jack Prentice in the top 10, less than a couple of seconds ahead of Josh Clayton.
Oh, Godefroy's really close to the back of Nico. He was almost pushing him through that corner, so Godefroy, he's sort of, they're kind of yin and yanging, really. They're kind of, yo-yoing, really. Sometimes the gap sort of extends out to a second, and it looks like Nico was really good in Sector 1, but then Godefroy claws it back in Sector 2 and 3. That's always a classic battle strategy there, of just having 2 cars who are completely different and faster in different parts of the track, but it does look like Godefroy's faster at this stage of the race, doesn't it?
It does, but Busov is able to place his car in the right areas of the circuit at the right times, and it looks to be that Sector 1 is definitely where his strength is at, but Godefroy is very good of keeping it on par, keeping the pressure on as they go on the back straight before the left-hander of Keosia. I have to say, Godefroy is not giving up on this by any stretch of the imagination. He's had a very good race so far. He had a poor race of it in Mount Panorama, but he gathered it back up in Laguna Seca, and he's doing a super job here in Misano to keep that consistency up between now and the end of the season. Ivanov is in 9th place, doing very well. He's right on the tail, actually, of Connor Byers. We'll quickly go to that. as he looks to pile the pressure on the Aston Martin in front. It says half a second, but it almost feels like a little bit more than that. But Ivanov is not giving up on this by any means. And another drive-through penalty, and it's Chris Gedman, of all people.
Chris. Oh dear.
So that'll have to be taken within the next 3 laps. He's got a fight. Harrison Busov right now. And this is going to go right all the way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what is their track limit situation. I got Ben's stream up, and he's had no track limits. Will's had no track limits, so maybe the top drivers are. I can tell you Connor Byers is on 2 track cuts. Just seeing some of the streams. So some drivers are really cutting it fine. Some are not actually. So Will's fine. I'll try and find Godfrey's stream somewhere. Let's see what he's got.
Well, Ben, is it 3 that gets you a penalty? 3.
It's 3. It's 4. So 3 is your final warning.
Okay, so it's just like in Formula 1, you get 3, and then almost like a black and white flag, and then the next time it's a penalty, then, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to say it's quite severe in ACC. Obviously in F1 it's 5 seconds, isn't it? So, which seems a little bit more lenient. But yeah, a whole drive-through is particularly gruesome. As Connor, is that Ben? Oh no, who's that? Oh no, sorry, it's a blue flag situation. My bad. I saw 69 go off, but it was round Ivanov. But it was sorry, didn't mean to get excited, Ben, that you had gone off the track. Don't worry.
And Ivanov is right all over the back of Byers still. He can't find a way through at the present moment as Gedman comes into the pits to get his drive-through taken. Clyde Bower goes ahead of him. Dybel in the 69. I think he's just behind Ivanov actually on circuit. So I'd expect Gedman to come out in 22nd place, who've lost a position thanks to the track limits violation. And he'll be out on his way.
This is really impressive driving from the two of them, from Nico and Godofray. I'm just keeping an eye on it, but they are they're pretty much staying within about 5 to 6 tenths of each other the whole way round. And I can tell you, this is intense. This is so intense for both of them right now. Godofray, he's not won in FRL, I believe, right? Is he seeking his first win?
I would have thought so, yeah. It's definitely in Taco Tuesday. I don't know about the other series he may be taking part in, but yes, this would be his first victory in Taco Tuesday. Yeah. Should he come out on top here.
So it's just so intense. Like when you're chasing your first win, I know what that's like, what that feeling is like, and you're chasing it. I mean, even when you're chasing, I think I had a bit of this situation. I think you've commented on that race when I had in Paul Ricard with Assetto actually, and I we're sort of stalked him like the whole race, and then got him with about a lap to 2 laps to go, and you're sweating, you're actually shaking, you're sweating, like his eyes will be on stalks. I can't tell you just how intense. I mean, maybe this is just me, but for me, this is peak sweat. And for Nico, any mistake, absolutely any mistake, and he's off. And and Godofray side by side. So it's just inch perfect from both of them right now, and Nico's doing a fantastic job.
See these two from this helicopter angle. Busov and Godofray. Freeman is 8 seconds behind Godofray. He's actually going to under pressure now from Sean Cole, who has posted the new fast lap of the race, and another drive-through penalty has been given, but it's not to any of the top drivers in this one. It's Will Rayner in 20th position. So Clyde Bower will go up another position after he had to serve a drive-through penalty earlier on. So he'll go up into 20th position.
Just trying to think where these... I mean, it's obviously around the kind of turn 4, turn 5 area is where they're obviously getting the cuts, but I just think it's quite difficult to get 4 in a race. Like, you have to be really, properly cutting that corner. So yeah, some harsh lessons for some drivers out there, I think.
Titan is under threat from Melvin Crows in the battle for 11th position. Adam Sharp running in 14th. Princess has had a good race again today, up there in 6th place in the Lamborghini. Bert Milden's right behind, less than 2 seconds off the Brit. So Godofray is still looming behind Busov, waiting for a mistake. Will Rayner is in the pits to get his drive-through penalty served and out of the way. He'll lose the position to Clyboa. And will he lose the position to Chris Gedman, probably? Gedman will go in front. Watch him come round now. And yeah, he'll go in front of Will Rayner, I think, because Will Rayner hasn't left pits yet.
Looks like, yeah, and obviously that's for Ben. Ben's just trying to get his position back from Prentice, which he lost at the box, so he's just falling behind there. I have to say, that's a really great performance from Luke Prentice. 6th place in Taco Tuesday improved here. You can be very proud of that so far. Absolutely fair play to him. He's definitely come along really strong this season, and he must be really at home in the Lambo. So fair play to him.
So 1 second clear now, so he's able to stretch the margin a little bit. I wonder if Godefroy has taken a little bit too much life out of those tyres whilst being stuck behind and chasing. Well, they're coming up to the number 3 of Clyboa, who hopefully won't get in the way of either of these drivers. He's got no one to fight with at the moment anyway. The next one in front of him is Joel Leia, who's another 15 seconds up the road from him. And we've only got 10 minutes to go in this race. Once the clock does reach 0, whatever lap the leaders are on will be their final lap. In terms of the lap times we've seen throughout today, I think once Busov goes over the line, I would say we've got around about 7 laps to go. So Busov will complete lap 31. 10 minutes remaining, so yeah, I think 38 laps is what is going to be completed today here in Misano. Busov is continuing to pull away now, so we'll look at other battles as Clayton and Crows are fighting over P11, and behind them is a battle for 13 between Kamil Mikowski and Adam Sharp, and Faster, who's right behind in the 696 Ferrari. So hotting up actually in the midfield.
Yeah, I refuse to believe that that's actually his real second name, but, you know, weirder things have happened. But I can see why he's taken up racing. But yeah, Melvin seems to be just stuck behind Clayton. Melvin's just I think he's just... We saw him make that really good move earlier in the race, didn't we, on Jack Prentice, I believe. But he's been really struggling to get past people ever since, so... If he says he's comfortable in the Audis, unfortunately... Oh, Clayton's just made a mistake there, just gone slightly onto the into the gravel, but then Melvin got a bit sideways in it, so maybe the Audi's just not being that great on its tyres. I don't know, but yeah, that's it's a little bit surprising actually.
Melvin goes over on the inside, contact!
Oh.
Contact made between Josh Clayton and Melvin Crows at Kayasea. And I have to say that was too clumsy that from Melvin Crows. That was never his corner. And Clayton luckily doesn't lose a place, but I think Melvin Crows has lost positions of his own. And I think he's paid the price for it there.
Yep, sorry Melvin. That was ambitious. I mean, I say this, I took out Melvin in another race quite recently. So I'll not say too much, but yeah, that was a slightly opportunistic dive bomb. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, but yeah, probably could have showed he's probably just got really, really impatient and just frustrated at how his race has gone. But still, so Clayton's still going in 11th, which will still be a good showing for him, actually, to be fair. But yeah, that's Clayton and Melvin, both SBR team drivers, so there'll be words had in the chat there, that's for sure. I look forward to seeing that.
I think so too. Not good for either of the two drivers, who are both desperate for results at the moment. Looking at Josh Clayton's season so far, he didn't take part in the first race in Mount Panorama, and he failed to finish in the second one at Laguna Seca, so 11th place finish will do all the well for him. For Melvin Crows, well, I think he'll probably want to look back on this race as one to forget for him. He has got time to close back in the battle actually now, because there's a queue behind Clayton in the battle for 11th between him, Kamil Mikowski, Adam Sharp, Faster, Ron Back, and eventually possibly Crows. So potentially a 5 or a 6 car battle for P11.
I think I can probably explain Will's strange lack of pace in this second stint. Just looking at it, I'm pretty sure I'm okay to disclose streams. Now that everyone's made their stops, but he's got 13 laps of fuel. So, you know, there's probably, what, 3 or 4 laps left in the race, so he's carrying a lot of extra fuel, so I think he must have maybe slightly miscalculated his fuel levels. It's easy enough to do, so that's probably why he's just carrying quite a lot of extra weight there in his car, so that's effectively a ballast, so I think he could be quite happy with that if he managed to hang on to 3rd place.
Godfrey's got the gap back down to 0.8 of a second behind Busov as they come out of KSE and coming towards Tremonto. And Kleiboer is still in front of them on the road, who's about to be lapped. Busov is doing his best to keep Godfrey behind. He's doing everything he can. Now, the last time Nico Busov won a race in Taco Tuesday, I think it was in Snetterton in Season 9. Boy, could he do with ending that drought here tonight. After finishing strong in previous races, but not quite on the top step. Well, he's run about 4 laps away from ending that drought, and Kleiboer has picked up his 2nd drive-through penalty of the race, and he'll fall down at least 1 position, I'd have thought, because of that. He's taking his drive-through penalty straight away.
Yeah, getting out of the leaders there. Yeah, he must have got that just on the exit of that. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out where these drivers are getting these, but if you go off there, you're slower, so I don't really understand why the game penalises you there. Like, I get giving you a drive-through track limit if you're cutting a corner or whatever, but yeah, that's a strange one. But yeah, race to forget for him as Godfrey's closing up. It's just a pendulum. It just swings. Sometimes Nico just has a couple of really good laps, and then Godfrey just keeps it pinned, really. I'm just looking at, there's a bit of a 4-car battle here, as you referred to, for 12th. Mikulski holding up Sharp and Faster, and Rombach DCR. Again, another interesting surname. So let's see where hopefully that shakes out. Still some big points for some of these guys, as you say. Some drivers who have obviously decided not to participate in this race. There's certainly lots of points available for some, especially with some other drivers having slightly poorer races, I guess, if you could probably say it that way.
Just seen a move from Patrick Van Leischer going for it on Stuart Hudson, but goes in too deep, and he'll have to watch for the 23 coming through. And that was Melvin Crowes lapping the pair of them, so Van Leischer having to yield there. Falkloff Abyssal has been on his own at the back, but at least he'll bring the car home to get some points. But the gap has come down to 0.6 between Busov and Godefroy with 3 laps to go.
Yep, I'm just watching Godefroy's lines just going through the final corner. I feel he could probably... Ferrari's starting to slide a little bit more than what I would normally like, really, but it must be the faster way going around the track. But he loses a bit of momentum on that final corner, so he could probably... He needs to get a good final corner exit and stay with Nico for that whole Sector 1 and then get a good run on him on the straight. But he's just seeming to just slightly lose it a little bit on the final corner there as he goes slightly wide, but that's all okay. So yeah, a couple of battles still simmering, we can probably put it that way. Will Friedman and Sean Cool definitely feels like something that might kick off quite soon, and yeah, you never know between Nico and Godefroy here.
Gap is 9/10 now in the last sector, which is Sector 1. And as you mentioned, in Busov, that's where Busov tends to thrive. Godefroy losing a little bit of ground there, coming out of Tremonto there. That'll give Busov some breathing space. It's like set in stone between now and the checker flag, unless Godefroy can really dig deep and just put Busov under a little bit more pressure in these last couple of laps.
Indeed, it looks like Sean is right on the gearbox of Will going into the final sector, so Will is really starting to feel it, I think, if he's been carrying all that extra fuel, and that's just going to wear your tyres more compared to your competitors, and the Porsche is quite a nimble car, so let's see what Sean Cool can do. I think that will be a real good return to form for Sean if he can manage to get on the podium here, given that he missed out last season.
Got enough time to do it, and if he's got less fuel in that tank of his in the Porsche, then That's going to give him somewhat of an advantage, and he's had a little bit of a glitch there with the connection. Don't worry, don't be fooled by that. That was just a connection from our end. He's all over the back of Will Freeman now as they come towards turn number 4. He's not able to get through on this occasion, but he will time when he decides to head or go for the move. It could even be on this back straight here as they come towards Kayasia.
Yeah, both of them are absolutely spot on with their lines there, but yeah, you can tell Sean's got the bit between his teeth. So can he keep it clean around this sector? He goes for a wider line, almost too wide there. But Will's also equally had a bit of a poor corner there. So Sean, if he gets this next corner right, will definitely have a run on Will. And he's putting him into defensive ships here, so that's not ideal either for Will. Got a bit of a run on him, but the Porsche straight line isn't amazing.
So just confirmation the pit window closed, but everyone's done their stops. As the 3rd and 4th place drivers are coming through, still fighting for that final podium spot. I think the positions at the top 2 are pretty much sewn up. The question is, who will claim that last podium position? Will it be Will Freeman, or will it be Scotsman Sean Cull?
Yep, and just to shout out that I think Jack Prentice has just gotten ahead of Ivanov for the battle for 9th place. So Jack's just recovering from that bizarrely poor pit window that he had, and is now back up into the top, well, further into the top 10.
Drive-through penalty for Joel Leher, who's running in 19th position, but I think he'll probably go to the checker flag, as it'll just be converted into a time penalty. Whereabouts is he on circuit? In the 20. Can't see him on the track because I think he's behind some of the cars who are trying to lap him actually. Oh no, he's going through Tremonto. So I would probably say just stay out until the end of the race.
Yeah, I think if you got a drive through, it probably just gives you like a 30-second penalty, I'm pretty sure, by the end of the race. So not much gained. As Sean gets really close to the back of Will.
Going side by side almost, the pair of them. They come towards Tremonto for one last time in this race. Can Sean Cull get a good exit out of here and get into the slipstream and have a go on Will Freeman? He's too far back to do it from there.
Yeah.
So I think Freeman has got this one pretty much in the bag now as they come towards the finish line to finish this Taco Tuesday race in the Pro category in Misano in the Formula Racing League. And I think that's Joel Leher. He's got 2 laps to take his drive through, but he'll get that converted into a time penalty because Nico Busov is coming round to end his winning drought in Taco Tuesday. He wins in Misano in the Formula Racing League in Italy. What a sensational drive it's been from him. A great effort from Jeffrey Godefroy to come home in a well-deserved 2nd place. And Will Freeman holds off Sean Cull to take the final podium spot. That's 3 races and 3 podium finishes for the Frenchman. What a sensational start to the season for him. Morgan Grace is 5th, ahead of Luke Prentice, who does well again to finish safe. Ben Milden in a fine 7th, ahead of Connor Byers, holding off Jack Prentice and Ivanov, who rounds out the top 10. And Josh Clayton has got more than enough of a gap over Kamil Makowski to come home in P11, with Makowski, Sharp, Faster, Rombach, Kroos, Druin, Brinkoff and Leher, who is the last driver on the lead lap. So you will not actually lose a position, even with the penalty applied. So he's timed that rather well, actually, to stay out there until the finish to get the time penalty applied. Clive Bower, Gedman, Dybel, Rayner, Hutchison, Van Nyshow and Bevizel are the rest of those who are lapped to finish the race. The only driver to not finish is Ed Sterling.
Wow, well done from Nico. Brilliant race, brilliant win. That is, I know the gap's kind of sort of extended towards the end, but that is so well held from Nico. It's so hard when you're racing in the race lead to keep that pace when you've got somebody who's, you know, under a second for the vast majority of the race, and to keep it held together and even pull out the gap towards the last lap. That is so mighty impressive, and yeah, mightily impressive from Godefroy. I think that's one of his best finishes in FRL, so he can be happy with that. That's extremely good points on the scoreboard there for him. I think that's definitely going to pull him up into the top 3. And yeah, what can I say about Will? That was had a bit of a tricky time, just slightly overfueling, and then holding off Sean just right at the end there, 3/10 over the line. Wow, So yeah, good race from all the top four. Really, really clean and well held together from everybody. So brilliant. Well done, everyone.
There is your race winner. It's Nico Busov in a 95 Porsche here in Misano in Taco Tuesday. A sensational drive from him. Jeffrey Godefroy coming home in second place ahead of Will Freeman in third, with Sean Cool fourth and claiming the point for the fastest lap. Morgan Grace fifth, Luke Prentice sixth, Ben Milden seventh, Connor Byers, Jack Prentice and Ivanov running out the top 10. Josh Clayton was 11th ahead of Cameron Mikowski. Adam Sharp was 13th ahead of Faster in 14th. Ron Back 15th. Melvin Crows, Kevin Druin, Bas Brinkhoff and Joel Leyer with the last drivers on the lead lap. Out of Clyde Bower, who had to take 2 drive-throughs on his way to 20th place. Had a Chris Gedman, Dybel, Will Rayner, Stuart Hutchison, Patrick Van Lyshow and Farclub Abyssal rounding out the finishers. Ed Sterling, as I've already mentioned, was the only driver to not finish. As far as the championship is concerned, the third place finish for Will Freeman has kept him in the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Nico Busov's win moves him ever closer. Now, considering that the pair of them have got similar results, I think Will Freeman is in front, albeit by, I think, either 1 point or 2 points, depending on the fast lap points that the drivers might have got there. But the championship standings will update in due course into the night anyway. So, your thoughts on today's race, Craig, before we round it all off? And
Yep.
the drivers
Yeah.
will be thinking about the next round, which will be at Suzuka.
Suzuka, yeah, completely different circuit, and yeah, completely different track layout in terms of for the cars and the advantages. And it'll be really interesting to see how that shapes up. It feels like my instinct will probably be the Porsche will probably be good around there, but yeah, we'll find out in due course. But yeah, in terms of this race, well, very clean from most of the drivers. We saw a couple of incidents from the likes of Melvin just there towards the end, but generally actually really well behaved compared to the last race that we saw in Bathurst. But and a shout out to Sean Cool getting the fastest lap there. I don't know when he got that, but that's an extra point, which will, hey, maybe that'll help as we've gone into a night race. So maybe we'll probably leave it there then. Who was your driver of the day then?
In terms of driver of the day, I'm tempted to go for. Oh, it's a very tough one to say. I'm just going to give it to the race winner because I think Busov held his nerve throughout all that, because Godefroy, gave it his all and took Busov all the way to the checker flag. So I think Busov, through all of his efforts, I think I'm going to give him as the driver of the day for today.
I would agree. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think Apprentice was probably another contender, but we already gave it that in Bathurst, so we can't give it again. So yeah, I'll say Nico.
So that rounds off everything for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Do make sure you like and subscribe as we look to increase the number of subscribers. I think it was something like 783 or something like that at the beginning of recording. Hopefully we can get to 800 by the end of the week, hopefully. The next round will be at Suzuka next week, so do make sure you tune in for then. 8 PM Greenwich means, well, right about 8:15 it will start Greenwich Mean Time. So do make sure you tune in for then next week. I'm Tom Cairns, he's Craig Law, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.